party people. Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week, in honor of the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi, I am sitting down with good friend Chris Ng for another exciting installment of Age of Rebellion, starring everyone's favorite Bothan investigator and security droid combo, Bam Trindo and Levon. It is a great episode. I am madly in love with it, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Before we dive in, first, a special thank you to Bradley Wright-Hewlett and Richard Allred, our newest backers on Patreon. Thank you both so much for your support. It really means the world. If you'd like to find out more about the Party of One Patreon, you can do that at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. Backers get access to bonus material, mini podcasts, and interviews, and Patreon dollars help pay for hosting fees, equipment costs, and convention appearances. Secondly, a quick reminder that our friends at Everything is Awesome are celebrating their 100th episode live this Sunday, December 17th at 4:30 p.m. at Amalgam Comics and Coffee House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They will be presenting an actual play adventure GM'd by yours truly. I'm going to be running my upcoming role-playing game of Super Spies and Terrible Office Meetings. Mission accomplished. It's going to be super fun, and you're not going to want to miss it. Also, at 3:30, there will be a live recording of Heart Points, a two-player Dungeon World podcast, which, if you like the games that we play on Party of One, you'll definitely dig Heart Points. So swing by Amalgam Comics and Coffee House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at 3:30 p.m., Sunday, December 17th for Heart Points, and 4:30 p.m. for Everything is Awesome's 100th episode, GM'd live by yours truly. Information about all of that can be found in the show notes. Finally, I've got some thoughts on the structure of this episode and the story that we told in the ending, so if behind-the-scenes kind of stuff and the thoughts about the creative process that goes into this type of thing is something that interests you, stick around. I think you'll find it interesting. And with all that out of the way, let's throw it over to me in the past so he can get started with the show. Take it past me.
Thanks, future me. This week I am sitting down once again with Chris Ng. Chris, thank you so much for coming back on Party of One.
Jeff, as you said last time, it is that time of year, that Star Wars time of year, so...
It is the most wonderful time of year, and I could not be more excited. So, at the top of the show, why don't you take a moment and remind all of our lovely listeners at home all of the cool things that you are a part of, all the cool podcasts you're doing, that sort of thing.
Sure. My main work is Silhouette Zero, a two-player campaign that was Edge of the Empire, has now transitioned into Age of Rebellion, starring the adventures of a Chadrafan pilot called Khan Click Kachak. It's me and my brother. We do everything ourselves. It's a lot of fun. You can get more info at sil0podcast.com because we're grown-ups now. We have a real website.
Websites are great, aren't they?
Yeah.
I had to get new business cards and everything. It's good.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I was like, oh, I don't have to give the Podbean anymore. I'm a real podcaster now. I've made it.
We made it, buddy.
I'm also a player on the Heroes of the Hydian Way podcast, which is a actual play podcast dedicated to playing the published adventures from Fantasy Flight games. So if you've ever looked at Dead in the Water and went, how do I do that? You can listen to us do it. And then choose to ignore everything we do.
That's super cool.
Not.
That's super cool. That's real good. So this week we are playing Age of Rebellion, Fantasy Flight's Age of Rebellion. This is the third installment of the ongoing adventures of Bam Trindo, Bothan investigator, and Levon, law enforcement droid turned battle-hardened security officer. And as you are GMing once again, I'm going to let you take the reins and throw us into the story.
I'm just gonna say this. I got a little strange with this adventure.
Strange is good.
It's pretty heavy.
Cool.
But I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think you could hang. So we're just gonna go for it.
All in.
And hopefully it works out. Bam Trindo, Bothan investigator. You are outside the observation deck of the frigate Twilight Imperator, a member of the Alliance intelligence fleet. You've had a heck of a month. A month ago, you were on a different frigate, a medical frigate, the Haven, trying to uncover the plot of an Imperial traitor. A disastrous event which ended up with the Haven being destroyed, although you did find out the perpetrators, and you did rescue one Dr. Menta Talaric, a super genius experimental scientist who was working on disassembling some very frightening Imperial technology. You managed to escape on the ship of Zap Vaporator, a smuggler who was none too pleased to have you aboard, and kicked you off as soon as you got to Tatooine. There, you struggled against the Hutt, a bunch of scheming Jawas, slavers, and all sorts of criminal underworlds just to get yourself out of the depths and back home. You acquired a ship, you freed some slaves. You did okay for yourself, except that you lost Dr. Menta Talaric.
Yes, we did. We lost the doctor, and equally importantly, we lost the project the doctor was working on, which was a clone soldier battle droid hybrid project.
Yeah.
It was a weapon of tremendous power that absolutely cannot fall into Imperial hands, and it seems that there's a chance that is exactly what happened, and there's a solid chance that it is entirely my fault. And so I have put every inch of myself, every moment of my being, every waking moment, I'm going to find this thing. I'm going to stake my reputation on it. I'm going to stake my life on it. We're bringing this thing home.
Now, these are all things that are on your mind when you are summoned to the observation deck. This can't be good. This is the ship of General Magua, the leader of the Fifth Fleet, who is pretty high up in the Alliance Intelligence Committee. Alliance Intelligence Community. But when the door opens, you don't see General Magua, who is a human. You see another boffin. Now, I left this blank because I want you to fill it in. This is somebody Bam knows, and knows well. Who is it?
Oh, it is 100% Bam's ex-boyfriend, Knock Damfirth. We came up together in the, we came up together in the intelligence circles. We love, young love is what it is, but the game is also what it is, and so we ended on not the best terms. But we still are both in the works, as it were. And so we try to respectfully keep distance, but not always successfully.
Right. So if I'm overstepping, let me know. But it seems to me that Bam is a steady, dependable, straight shooter kind of a guy, even for a boffin. Maybe especially for a boffin.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Nock always had much more of a flair for the dramatic.
Oh, for sure. It's one of the things that brought us together, and it's one of the things that drove us apart. Just a clash of personalities.
This moment on this observation deck is no different. All of the lights are out, except for the few kind of those light panels on the floor, sort of think Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. Where for some reason the steps are lit up, but nothing else is. Mm-hmm. The window is positioned against one of the spiral arms of the galaxy. It's this beautiful, beautiful display of stars. You have no doubt he has ordered the ship to take this position so that it will hold this position for him. Mm-hmm. You see his silhouette. He's sitting he's sitting facing away from you. There's a table, a bottle, 2 glasses, and then another seat on the opposite end. And he just sits there waiting for you.
Knock, it's an event to see you. And Bam goes up, pours the 2 glasses, and takes them both and says, "Did you get a glass for yourself, or what's the deal here?"
I didn't think that. double fisting it was your style, Bam. I thought that was more my deal. Remember that time?
Yes, I remember. It's just, it's kind of my own personal tradition when we cross paths, so you'll have to indulge me. And he shoots back both glasses, and he puts them back down on the table and says, "What's the job, Nock? I know you're here for a reason."
He stares off into the galaxy for a while. At first, you're almost positive it's for dramatic effect, but he stares a little too long. You can sense now that something is really deeply troubling him.
"What's wrong, Nock? Talk to me."
Why do you do this job, Bam?
Why do any of us? It's what I'm really good at. At least that's what I thought as of a few weeks ago. I don't really have as great an answer anymore, but it's about the only job I know.
He shakes his head very slowly. I don't know if that's a good enough answer. And I don't have time to boost up your self-esteem issues, Bam. I need to know. Why do you do this job?
Because someone has to do it. Not everyone gets to be the hero bursting in on a land speeder or a speeder bike, shooting up the Imperial forces. Some of us have dirtier jobs to do, and I've never had a problem getting my hands dirty. And so here we are, and here I am, and I might not be the answer you wanted, but it's the best answer I've got.
He takes the bottle, drinks from the top of it. I'm going to tell you a few things that if Magua or Maydeen or Mon Mothma knew I was telling you, they'd throw me out the airlock. But I'm not about to ask you to do this without knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Well, I appreciate that much.
Things aren't going well, Bam. Not since Hoth. We've been on the run, pinned to the wall. You know that part.
Of course.
But what we don't tell the rest of the Alliance is just how bad it is. Our allies are faltering, hedging their bets, not sure if we're going to fold in on ourselves, making sure they still have enough ins with the Empire, failing to commit resources. We're losing people every day. The Empire is getting smarter. Before, we were quicker and meaner, and we wanted it more. But Vader's relentless. And ever since his failure at Yavin, he's been even more relentless. One way or another, Bam, this war isn't going to last much longer.
Cut the speeches and tell me what the job is.
Takes another long drink. Officially, it's to clean up your own mess. We know where Menta Talaric is. You're supposed to go in and get him.
Okay.
We're assigning 2 people with you.
Who's my crew?
It's all in a dossier. He pulls out a pad and tosses it to you. But this is just a cover job, you see.
Noted.
There's another piece of information in the compound that you're entering that we need. We absolutely need it. And I don't know who to pick to do it.
Well, it seems like whether or not you know, it seems like you picked me, so tell me what I'm picking up.
He pulls out a second data pad, hands that to you.
I start flipping through it. Not really like this even though this is sort of the more important mission, like I'm flipping through it kind of flippantly, like just kind of scrolling through it, skimming it.
Right. And to your absolute surprise, there is no mission data on the second data pad. It's all false credentials. There's a new identity, a bank account, property, a business license, the deed to a ship.
Planning a getaway?
Look, Bam, whatever we've been through together, I was never good at this. Look, if you want to say no, that's your way out, okay?
If I say no, cover job or not, I don't rescue Talaric and I don't clean up my mess. And Bam Trindo doesn't leave a mess behind. You should know that better than anybody.
Why do you... Okay, fine. I just thought maybe for once you'd listen to reason and... Criff. Okay, listen. It's a location. It's a piece of location data, okay? There's something big. We know what it is. We don't know where it is. That's all I can tell you.
That's all you can tell me?
That's all I'm going to tell you.
You with your drama. I'm gonna figure it out one way or another, so you may as well tell me now.
It's the Death Star, Bam. They built another Death Star.
That's ridiculous. We blew it up.
We built up their Model 1. Their test run. This one is bigger, and it's stronger, and it shoots faster.
That's not possible. That's not possible. That's not possible, Knock. That's not...
It is possible, Bam. That's what I'm saying. This war ends one way or the other. We have to strike now, but we don't know where it is.
And so we find Talaric, and he tells us
Talaric is a cover job. Talaric is being housed at the same place that this data is. I don't care the width of a nerf hair, whether Talaric lives or dies. His work is meaningless. Don't you understand that? He's inventing a Jedi killer. There are no Jedi left. But you can't tell anyone on your team why you're actually there. If you fail, you have to die, Bam. Don't you understand? Because then we need to send someone else to try to get it in.
You're sending me on this mission. I'm already dead. So...
I wouldn't send you on the mission if I didn't think somehow you could pull it off.
That's the sweetest thing you've ever said to me, Knock.
It is not.
It kind of is.
I can't believe that. I mean, look, if it were the other way around, you'd send me, wouldn't you?
Oh, in a heartbeat. You're the best spy the rebellion's got.
You're not the only one with self-esteem issues around here, Bam. But I guess you know that.
Self-esteem issues? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the man that captured the plans of the second Death Star. And he takes the 2 data pads, and he stuffs them in his hand. He takes them in his hands. He stuffs them on one side, and he leans in and he kisses Knock on the cheek, and he says, "Mission accepted. Cover-up story. No one needs to know. Pick out my team. Get me ready. I'll be ready in the morning. Load me on a ship, and I'll be on my way."
We cut to the interior of a Labna-class Imperial shuttle. Piloting, for better or for worse, is Levon, your security droid. And you have 2 people with you. They are both Bothans, which makes sense because, as you have reviewed the first mission log, you are posing as Bothan Imperial defectors. You're brought into... Well, your cover is that you're going into basically snitch on the rebellion. Try to explain their battle tactics, their mentalities, where their base might be, what kind of maneuvers they might try to do. The instructions say, be convincing, but not too convincing. Don't give away any secrets, but make them believe you. So the 3 of you are supposed to be these Bothan specialists that are brought in. you're reviewing their data files. The first one is your Slicer. He's a young Bothan, kind of new to the job, definitely trying to make his name here in the Bothan service. His name is Kaber Dalimo. So he's your Slicer. You also have with you Maris Ursabek. She's a pretty old... she's an older Bothan. She's been around. You've probably worked with her before. She's very good at breaking things and blowing stuff up, but she also has a bit of a reputation for looking out for herself. She's not overly committed to the cause of the Alliance. She doesn't like the Empire, especially for what they've done to the Bothan homeworld. But you know that if it were sacrifice yourself for the mission or save your own skin, she's going to save her own skin.
Sure. I think as soon as we cut to the inside of the shuttle vessel, I think there's a moment when Maris first walks in, and Bam is just like head in hand, like they know. Maris, it's a pleasure. And then Levon hears the name Maris and is like, Maris, it is yes. And they do a complicated handshake. And he's like, I gotta show you the blaster I ripped off of a stormtrooper. It's the coolest thing.
I know you've been looking for one of those for years now, Levon.
It's so cool.
Tell me, is little Bam finally taking you off your leash yet?
No, the same as ever. Like working with my boss. He's a great boss. And Bam's just behind him with his arms crossed.
Well, we're leaping right into the depths of Imperial territory today. I'm sure you'll get to kill a few things.
Here's hoping. I'd cross my fingers, but my fingers don't cross. Droid hands.
Kaber, on the other hand, is wide-eyed and immediately walks up to you. Mr. Trindo, I am so excited to be working with you. I have read all of the case files that are, in my access level and that I can figure out are you. But you do excellent work. I really hope that I can do this team proud, and our race proud, and the Alliance proud, and the future of the galaxy proud, and my mom proud, and...
Kid,
yeah.
You're gonna do great.
Oh, your confidence means the world to me. I can't believe this is happening. I'm actually going on a super important mission with Bam, Trindo, and Maris. I mean, Maris has got a rep, that... Well, I guess you were there, so I don't need to tell you that story.
I appreciate your enthusiasm. This is an important mission. This is top priority. We have a lot of work ahead of us. Let's get to it. No sense in waiting around.
You're approaching the planet Sullust, the home of the Sullustans. It's a very volcanic world. Not quite magma Mustafar volcanic. Think more like the Big Island in Hawaii or Yellowstone. There is some lava flows, but there's also a lot of... Actually, Iceland is probably a better comparison.
Sure.
Hot springs, sulfuric gas, just a lot of
steam in the air.
Yeah. Very acrid, very harsh environment. Mm-hmm. The Empire set up a base here a while ago, and apparently this information center is, it's supposed to be the best of the best. As you scan through the dossier, you know that it's all run by this guy named Spymaster Barakar. He is ultra paranoid. The Alliance has attempted to get access to the information here before, and all of the systems are run independently. Nothing is networked. Nothing at all. So you can't just toss your astromech at a scomp link and get whatever you want. Everything has to be done manually by individual controls and following a very set pattern of specific security clearances. Any deviation from the clearances triggers a security alarm.
I like the way this guy operates.
Fortunately, you do have a person on the inside. Her name is Lieutenant Nirna Ayator. She is a defector. She is, moderately ranked in the Empire, but she is stationed here, and she's waiting for you to make contact so she can give you as much information as possible. You're also supposed to extract her on your escape if that, is an option.
Right. Okay.
So, for now, that's all you know. The shuttle comes to a landing, follows the security procedures. You are met by a couple of stormtroopers and a low-ranking black-tunicked Imperial officer. One thing you do know as well was that because the spy master here is so paranoid, and this really explains to you why Nock gave you the false identity. They can't create a cover identity for you.
Mm-hmm.
Their background data checks are so deep that if you said you were anyone else other than Bam Trindo, they would know.
Got it.
So they're going to know your face, your name, and you are essentially playing yourself.
Playing a version of myself that has a different life. Got it.
Exactly. So when the ramp lowers, the Imperial officer gives you a curt nod and says, yes, Mr. Trindo, is it?
Yes, Bam Trindo. Pleasure to meet you. I believe you're expecting me?
Yes. Yes, well, as it turns out, the security team and the information officers you are assigned to see have been a bit delayed, so we're going to have to ask you to wait some time.
No, that's, frustrating, but I understand that things happen, so point me to my waiting room and we'll see how the day shakes out.
Yes, we'll escort you to your quarters. Well, your temporary quarters.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name?
He turns around and ignores you because you're an alien. And he's Imperial.
Charming.
And he doesn't like you.
Charming.
So while you're being escorted, why don't you roll either perception or vigilance at 2?
All right.
Oh, we forgot to do a destiny pool. Why don't you do that real quick?
All right.
Do 4 force dice.
4 force dice. 3 dark side, 2 light side.
Okay, so you go ahead and roll either perception or vigilance against 2 purple. You can use either Bam or Levon or both.
All right, my perception. I'm going to roll perception. Bam is going to roll perception, which is 2 yellow and a green. And you said 2 purple.
Mm-hmm.
That's blue. 2 purple. That is 1 success. 1 success. And then I will also roll for Levon, who will be rolling 2 green. Levon does not do as well. Gets 2 failures and 2 advantages.
Levon is mostly interested in security situations. With your advantages, you'll note that very few people seem to go alone around here. There's always someone tagging along. There's like a very high number of Imperial stormtroopers on site for a secure location.
Noted. Unusual, but not outlandish. What does Bam notice?
Well, what's his mentality? What's he most interested in knowing?
Bam is he wants to know for sure that this Death Star thing is even happening. I think it's split between wanting to know that the Death Star thing is happening because it can't be true, right? Like, it can't be. But also, like, figuring out where Telleric is under any circumstance, like, at any cost.
So, with this, Bam starts to take in the layout of the security. He's looking for a pattern here on how this place is laid out. Immediately, what you notice is that the exterior of this complex isn't very high, which is kind of odd for an Imperial structure. So you catch out of the corner of your eye a secured turbo lift, and it seems to be moving very rapidly, which indicates to you must mean that it's traveling a very long distance. So this place must go down into the planet a considerable way.
Okay. Interesting. We've built a whole underground complex. That's ominous.
You are taken to what are actually very fancy quarters, and your assumption is that these are VIP quarters, thus why they are temporary. There are a couple of bedrooms and then a joined meeting room. These guards will be outside if you need anything. And then he
much appreciated. Have a great. Okay.
Can't believe. How do you not just punch these guys in the face when you're talking to them?
Because
how do you keep your cool?
Because I am highly trained. I am very good at my job. There's a reason that I talk to the stuff shirts and you blow things up, Maris. We have our roles. We have our jobs and things. Right, Levon? Levon is standing there. He's not holding a gun, but you see his like droid hands are kind of twitching a little bit, and he's like, we've all got our jobs. We've all got our jobs.
Okay, well, what's the first move then? What are we gonna do?
We well, for now we wait. They want us to wait. They think that we are waiting. Best trick: stay exactly where they want us.
What? Really?
Of course.
We're just gonna do what they tell us to do?
Of course. For now, I mean, if we do things now, then somebody's going to show up to pick us up to our next part of the assignment, and then we're not here. Once we get our first meeting, at least we play the part a little bit. Then we wait until their eyes are off of us a little bit. Then we have free reign.
Okay. Can I write these notes down? I don't want to forget them.
I suppose. Yeah, of course. Write them down.
You're gonna let them write something down that they can find? Your tips on spying?
That's a very good point. Don't feed my ego. Don't do that. Write that down. Don't feed my ego. Write that down.
Okay.
Don't write that.
I'm gonna do.
That was sarcasm. Don't write that down. Maris has a good point. Don't write anything down.
Okay. Right. As if on cue, there is a chime at the door, and then it slides open, and a very crisp-looking woman steps in, gives a nod to the troopers, and approaches you. Yes, are you Mr. Trindo?
The one and only. I assume you've been expecting me.
Indeed I have. And she starts tapping something on a data pad. Now, you are the rebel specialists, are you not? And she hands you the data pad. It says, I'm your defector, but this room is bugged. We need to do something.
Oh, that's not good. I kind of discreetly flash the data pad to Kaber. As our slicer, I'm thinking if anybody can crack the bug and unwind the last minute or so of conversation, the slicer should be able to do that. Meanwhile, I say, we are exactly who you are expecting. Happy to talk about whatever you need talked about. Granted, we are a little bit tired from, interstellar travel and all that. But I don't know how useful we'll be tonight, but we can absolutely see where we can get for our first meeting.
Okay, so let's go ahead. You're going to roll Kaber's computer check here.
All right.
He's got probably some sort of cool secret slicing rig. Mm-hmm. What does that look like?
It looks like... Oh, I bet it is... It is designed to look like Lobot's computer headpiece. He puts that on, and it's got... if you picture Lobo's headpiece and shock gloves.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
And it's designed to look like these very mundane sorts of devices, but they're linked together with an optical overlay, so that he can just sort of tap into things by like tapping the right spots on a data pad or on a control panel or a keypad or what have you.
Cool. Okay, so go ahead and roll this for me. It's going to be 2 yellow, 2 green against 3 purple. Now, normally there'd be a black, but he has bypass security, which removes black from computer checks.
That is a wash with an advantage.
Ooh, okay. So he's doing his best here. He has found the bug. He cannot disable it. He kind of nudges you and points at... Oh, gosh. It's probably something lame. It's probably like the potted plant. The one living thing in the room.
I turn to Maris, and I gesture to the potted plant, because if we can't erase the bug, at least we can make sure that they can't recover the bug.
Yes, well, I do hope that our partnership, as it were, becomes a fruitful endeavor for the glory of the Empire. All hail Palpatine.
All hail Palpatine.
And all that.
Of course.
May he live a long time. Very long time.
Of course, indeed.
So you can roll Maris. It's going to be yellow, 3 green against 2 purple.
That is a success and a triumph.
All right, so this was her skullduggery check. She's going to wreck this bug. Do you have any ideas on how that happens?
Yes. The door, yes. I think she, like, picks it up, plants, she's got explosives. She's got, like, plastique, basically, like Star Wars plastique, that is in the shape of whatever Bothans eat. So, like, those weird carrots that you see the thing eating in the cantina scene. Like some of those. So she picks it up and kind of, like, haphazardly smears a little bit of that on the plant. And then looks at her hands like, oh no, I've been eating. I shouldn't touch the plant, and puts it down. And it just like, pop. And there's like a little and it shakes. And when she puts it down, it shakes and it falls over because of that little tiny pop of explosives. The thing shatters. The bug is fried. And she goes, oh, I'm so clumsy. Oh, I shouldn't have been eating. And it slipped right off oh, that's so embarrassing.
The lieutenant, is visibly relieved at this. You do have a triumph here on the table, though.
I think the triumph is because nothing in here is networked, everything is locally managed. There's no relay of the bug to an external server. Somebody has to come in and take it. So the bug being fried does not. There's no chance of somebody else already having that data.
Perfect. Oh, goodness. They said you were good, but I didn't know you were going to be this quick and efficient.
Don't underestimate me. Caber, write that down. Don't actually write it down. This is a thing we're doing. It's a whole bit.
Right. So anyway, listen. I do hope that you're not going to just kill me when I'm done giving you the information. I really don't like the Empire anymore. I can't stand that they're building another Death Star.
He started to laugh and try to reassure her, and then she says that, and he just freezes up. So it's real then. It's actually a thing that's happening.
I mean, that's what I've heard. Anyway.
Carking hell. Okay. Then give us the information. I promise none of us here will kill you. And we're going to do our job. We're going to get that information. We're going to get Telleric. We're going to get you. And we're going to get off planet. We're going to do great.
Okay. Excellent. So, there's not much I can give you. I was told to just... My rebel contact said that you could use some information on the soft targets, the people involved. The Spymaster Barrica, he doesn't trust anything or anyone, which is why he has done so well in the Empire, I imagine.
Of course.
But in my experience, he's very, very proud and overly reliant on his security measures. So long as we can use those security measures against him, he won't know a thing has happened.
That is where our friend Caber comes in. Caber, figure out if you can tap into the security and see how we can exploit that. We have...
No. That's not quite possible. The security procedure is, well, it's rather excessive in my opinion, but first, in order to get access to the data you're looking for, you're going to need a data request order made by someone of a sufficiently high rank. And then after you have the data request order, you have to take it over to the security checkpoint. Your identity has to be verified, and then they will search you. You can only bring a clean drive into the storage area, and nothing else. No blasters, no other accoutrements. And she gestures at Caber's get up. And then, well, you're supposed to file a report, although I don't suppose you'll actually need to file the report.
Yes, I don't suspect that paperwork has never been my strong suit.
So, the other thing I was meant to tell you is that there's the Captain Andor is the second in command here, the one in charge of security. The only thing I can figure out is that, well, Andor was sent here as a punishment, essentially. He and Berica don't get along at all. I don't think he would help us destroy Berica, but I also don't think he would mind it so much if it happened.
Interesting. Alright, so we have a crack in the armor, so to speak. If we can figure out a way to play the two against each other, that might be a place to start. We have tools. We know it's not going to be easy to get the information, but we also know that there are kind of interpersonal disputes that can lead to... Oh, yes, actually, this might be useful after all. He starts rubbing his hands together and gets lost in thought, pacing around the room a little bit. Starts tracking potted plant dirt as he walks repeatedly over the dirt.
Caber mimics you.
Okay, if Andor and Bericar don't like each other, then we can assume that goes down through the ranks. That's going to be where we strike. We find people who are loyal to Andor. We convince them that Andor is we convince them that Andor has committed to usurping Bericar. We get them to... we orchestrate the assignment accordingly, all very hush-hush, and we turn our security measures against themselves.
Oh, well, you should know that the security measures here are, a little bit backwards, actually. I don't know how else to put it other than to say that they're backwards.
In what way?
Well, normally security countermeasures in an Imperial facility would necessitate things such as internal turret systems, defensive fields, blast doors, that sort of thing. But most of this facility is built upon very toxic fumes and very high heat. The only reason we're able to survive is the environmental controls. It keeps us shielded. In the event of a security breach, or a significant security breach, the Spy Master will simply deactivate the security protections, and we will all die suffocating on superheated sulfuric gas.
So then the question becomes, how do we keep that from happening as we execute the plan? Can that system be exploited?
I suppose nothing here is interconnected with one another, so if we could gain control of it, then there would be no other way to circumvent it.
Bam stops pacing, turns around to face Caber, who has turned around to face someone behind him. Says, Caber, environmental controls, there's your in. You are going to crack these environmental controls and keep things at a cool, brisk, whatever temperature we're at right now.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, I'm on it.
Maris, you are going to ensure that we need to shut down comms, for lack of a better term. We can't have them getting a hold of Andor to confirm that this plan is not going through. What we need is a momentary low low coverage blackout of just strictly communications. Something needs to go haywire that can be fixed, but will still make getting back to command difficult.
Well, a facility like this has got to have a couple of internal comm repeaters. If I take one of them out, transmissions won't be able to get to the top command center, but they'll still work within the lower ranks. I'm just going to need to see a schematic to figure out where they are.
Do I have schematics? No.
You don't.
Nirna.
Yes.
Can you get us schematics?
I can authorize level 3 requests for data due to my rank, but I'm not sure if that would be a level 2 or level 1 request for data. I suppose I could give you a blank request and you could try it out. Or modify it.
That will have to do. You give us that. If you get us that form, we will fill out the request, and we will start. And Levon and I will start doing what we do. Drum up a little bit of unrest. Stir things up, and this place is going to be crumbling within the hour.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Should I call you Mr. Trindo?
No, Bam's fine.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Look, I did it. I hacked the thermostat for this room. I can change it to any temperature you want.
You're an ace, kid. You're going to do great. Now we just need you to do it through the building.
Oh, you meant environmental controls for the whole facility, not just this room.
The room's a start. You figured out how the system works. We just need you to expand the operation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that was a little easy. It wasn't even locked. I just pushed the buttons. Okay, I'll do better this time. I got this.
You got this, kid. You're gonna do great. All right. We all have our assignments. We all have our missions. Let's go destroy an Imperial base.
Okay, so how do I want you to do this? Okay. Lieutenant Ayator is going to give each of you a blank work order that you can fill out if needed.
Okay.
You can also copy them, but now you have that just on each character. So as they're going around doing their duties, you can try to exploit that as necessary.
Fabulous.
The one thing you should know is that Captain Andor is mostly in charge of security, so that'll be mostly the stormtroopers. Anyone else in a white or black uniform is usually a member of intelligence.
Noted.
Well, white is for intelligence, black is for operations, although they tend to fall more under the Spy Master's division.
Noted. So we're talking to the rank and file. Got it.
I suppose you could go anywhere they congregate. Mess hall, training facility, barracks.
Let's hit the mess hall. That seems like the place to go for disgruntled employees on their afternoons off.
Right. I'll escort you down, but I'd rather not enter myself. If they see me, they'll, tighten their lips.
That's totally fine. I will do what I do best.
Okay, so who do you want to track first? Bam and Levon, Kaber, or Maris?
Well, let's start with Bam and Levon.
You arrive at the Imperial Mess Hall. It is a mess hall. That's pretty unremarkable. The stormtroopers are sitting around without helmets, but usually still in armor. Blasters are nearby. They're getting some sort of generic goopy soup, which you know to be highly nutritious and horrible to the taste.
Mm-hmm. I saddle up to a table of them with some nutritious soup, and I affect a slouch, and I start grumbling about the treatment around here. I cannot even believe. Do you mind if I sit? I just really need to I can't be around security people. I just need to be around normal people for a few moments. I know that you're Imperials and I'm a boss. I just need to be around anyone other than a security official for a moment after the way I've been treated. Oh my goodness.
They look at each other. The closest one peers at you, very curious. You are not a human, but you are this far into the facility and you haven't been killed or arrested yet, so you're probably supposed to be here.
Oh.
Who are you?
Yes, sorry. Bam Trindo, Bothan Defector. It's a whole thing. We're here on an operation. They brought us in to divulge some information such that we might bring down that pesky rebellion once and for all. It's a whole thing, but at least that's what we were told. What it turned out to be was that we were going to go through checkpoints and background and interrogations. It's been a whole day. Is that normal?
Yeah. How long have you been here?
A few hours.
Well, get used to it. Get very used to it. That's how things are around here. Check and double check. Fill out your form. Follow your work order. Make sure that you piss on schedule. And everyone laughs.
What could possibly need all of this security for?
Listen, Barraker, man's nuts. But he has a pretty good reason to be. You're a rebel, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was.
They all kind of look around. One of them does that meerkat peeking up his head, like looking for the teacher sort of look. Looking for other officers, make sure they're not going to get in trouble. So you probably know better than we do what happened on Scarif.
Of course.
They all kind of lean in. Well, come on. Tell us the story. We just heard that handful of rebels walk through, steal the most important piece of data in the galaxy, and just beam it off.
It's, I mean, the rebellion, that was before Yavin, right? Like, that was, listen, if you knew the rebellion that I knew, you would be jumping ship too.
Huh. Well, the story spread around here pretty fast, too. Barraker, he does not want to be the next Scarif, you know?
Fair. That is fair.
So he's got his secrets buried deep, deep, deep down in this planet.
So, what? So what? We're making, another Death Star? That's ridiculous.
I doubt they have the resources for that.
I mean...
But still... They've got weird scientists down in the detention level. They've got all sorts of... Some people say there's Sith stuff down there. Jedi stuff, Spooky, creepy things. There are rooms at the bottom of this complex that only Palpatine can get into.
That's... Yeah, I guess in that case you'd probably want a spy master to do your security detail. Spies get things done, after all.
Do they?
I like to think so.
I'm not saying that his structure isn't sound or his reasoning isn't insane, but I'm just saying that day-to-day operations, maybe someone with a little more military understanding might do a better job. One of the other ones hits him. Don't say things like that here, man. We're going to get in trouble. They're going to hear.
I lean in. I lean in and say, well, forgive me. This is coming from the rebellion. This sounds exactly like what we all experienced. This is one of the reasons I left. And so, forgive me if this is out of line, but why not do something about it? Oh, that was freeing to say. I never got to say that to the rebellion. And I just wanted to every single day. Why not do something about it? Why not just take the lead, Figure out what's going on down there. Haven't you've wondered it, so why not just take those reins?
All right, you're going to need to roll something here.
Would you call this deception or...
Well, what would you call it?
I think I'd call it deception. I'm playing the role of the disgruntled former rebel. trying to convince them that this is their idea, not my idea entirely.
Okay, so roll your deception. It's going to be against 3 purple, except I'm going to flip a dark side point and upgrade 1 purple to a red. So a red, 2 purple. I'm going to say a black because you're a boffin and an ex-rebel. I'm going to say a blue because your reasoning and your talking and all of that was just really good. So those are convincing reasons to do what you're saying.
And I'm going to remove that black because of my ability. I have an ability to remove a black on a deception. So that is 1 green, 2 yellow. That is 1 green, 2 yellow, 1 blue, 2 purple, and 1 red. Success and 2 advantages.
They all start muttering to each other. The guy you've been talking to stands up a moment, gives a little nod to one of the troopers by the door who's still in uniform. He hits a button and the blast door closes to the room. Listen, you're not the first one to think that. See, our superior officer, Captain Andor, he knows what he's doing. We've often said that Barracker made a good system. Let Andor run it.
That makes sense. This is what I've been This is what I wanted from the rebellion. To build a system and let the people that know how to act. So what do we do? How do we make it happen? You have my full support. I am a man of ideas, and I want to help make this a reality.
What are you going to get out of this?
This is you know what? That's fair. Allow me to apologize a little bit. I might be projecting some frustrations over why I left the rebellion. I dealt with a similar situation, so suffice it to say, if I could know that you aren't dealing with the same criff that I'm dealing, the same criff that I dealt with, I'd be a happy man.
All right, you can cut the double talk. I get it. You help us. We put in a good word for Captain Andor. You get a little better treatment once your defection process is complete. Right?
You are smarter than I expected. I respect that.
All right, sounds like a fair deal. You are a Bothan after all. Maybe you can get into this spy master's brain.
It's what I do. It's what we do. We're Bothans.
All right. Listen, I'm going to pass the word around. It's going to take a while. What should we do? What
we need is leverage. We need to know what we're building here, whatever we're working on, whatever's so secret that we need the spy master and the secrets. We need to know exactly what it is. We need as much leverage as we can get. If we have that, then we can know how to twist spy master's arm. It's that simple.
Huh. You would need someone with a level 1 clearance to get you down there, but turns out we know where their quarters are.
That's all you need. You're good. I bet you're good at convincing people in a pinch. I bet you've got some persuasive skills. And I kind of pat his muscular arm for a minute, and I'm like, I bet you've got a few ways to convince people. And given that you are the security team on here, I don't think there's going to be too much opposition if you apply those skills. So that's the plan. Get a clearance level 1, get a request form filled out, get us our leverage.
He puts on his helmet. You're coming with us.
Absolutely.
Though.
It's my pleasure.
You're going to have to wear these binders, just for appearances.
Oh, believe me, I completely understand.
And what's with this droid?
Oh, just a, basic service droid. Levon is just, we see the fingers start to twitch, and we zoom in on that.
Well, look, don't take this the wrong way. Can he help protect you if things get hot?
You're right. We're cutting the double talk. That's why I keep him around. He's very good. And Levon's hands stop twitching as he's just like, and he kind of like looks up a little bit. I am very good.
All right, let's go. Okay, Kaber or Maris?
Let's do Kaber.
So Kaber has managed to wander himself down towards environmental controls. I imagine mostly by playing the dumb kid routine.
Mm-hmm.
It is uncertain whether or not he is being sincere in this dumb kid routine. Just kind of goes around like, look, I'm supposed to find environmental control. You know, kind of like looking embarrassed, and enough irritated Imperial officers have pointed him far enough down the line that he's at least on the same floor.
Right.
So this, like everything else around here, has a security checkpoint. So you can see the server room on the other end, and then there's a couple of stormtroopers and a white tunicked officer waiting and just staring at him, waiting to bring in the correct orders for access.
Kaber's going to pull up the order form on his datapad, and he's going to try and, using his datapad and using his hacking, his slicing gear, try and find some locally stored form that he can, if not directly copy, like adapt for his purposes.
Beautiful idea. Okay, so give me 2 yellow, 2 green against 3 purple. There would be a black, except he's removing it. And then take a blue for the idea of trying to copy.
And I'm going to flip a light side to turn one of these green into a yellow. Wash with 3 advantages.
Okay. So you can't find something to copy, but
I do find an unrelated request with the officer's name for something that he approved.
Okay. So then you're just going to kind of cobble all that together?
Yeah, so I at least know his name and, like, the types of requests he approves, if not something I can directly copy. Something sort of in the ballpark.
Okay.
So it'll still require some forgery, but I at least have an idea.
So go ahead and do the same roll, except that you're going to add a second blue. So the first blue is for the signature that you pulled. The second blue is from the form that Lieutenant Ayator already gave you.
All right.
And you're leaving that yellow because I just feel like taking that name is worth an upgrade and a blue at the same time.
Okay. 2 successes and 3 advantages.
All right. It's a perfect work order for making adjustments to the environmental controls. They give you they give Kaber an odd look, he being Boffin, but there was a work order, so can't argue with it. They let him through.
What are you going to do? There's a work order. So he goes in, he starts poking around at the servers and start trying to get a handle on, like, where, I guess, figuring out where he would need to manually ensure that the environmental controls stay where they are, basically.
So there's 2 options I think that would come to mind for him. One is he could probably set up some sort of transmitter and backdoor so he could remotely operate the environmental controls. That would be a little bit of a harder role. But if he just wanted to lock out the interface, he could do that pretty easily. So basically, no one could change anything on the environmental controls. So even if they wanted to shut them off, they couldn't.
That sounds like the better option, especially because then he could just be the kid that messed up.
Yeah, okay. So give me 2 yellow, 2 green against 2 purple.
That's very good. That's triumph, 5 successes and 3 threat.
That is a heck of a roll. Okay, with 5 successes, no one is moving this thing. The 3 threat is no one's moving this thing, even him. Like, he can't undo this.
Yeah. And the triumph is that he does it and it surprises himself. The level to which he has locked the system up surprises even him. So when somebody's like, "What did you do?" he is able to effortlessly play the dumb kid and just get escorted back to, like, the waiting room of like, get out of here. Just get get out of here while we try to fix this.
Yeah,
let the adults do their work.
This is exactly what happens. The white uniformed Imperial intelligence officer looks absolutely panicked. Like, he cannot believe he has let this happen on his shift, and he knows he's going to be held personally responsible for it. So, Caber's taken back safely to the VIP room without any hassle or delay. So that just leaves us with Maris.
Yes.
How is she going about trying to find the location of this repeater?
I don't know.
There's a couple of options. I mean, she could try to get access to a server to try to get it. She could just try to intelligence her way through it and just be like, well, I know how these work. It's probably over here.
That sounds like Maris. That's the one I'm going to go with. That sounds like the most Maris.
Okay. So it's going to be 4 green against 3 purple.
3 purple. I'm going to upgrade to a yellow. 5 successes.
Jeez. Yeah, she knows exactly where they are.
Yeah, this is old hat. This is my job, and I'm very good at it. So she, like, kind of just cracks her knuckles and is like, all right, time to go to work. And she just, like, is following pipes and following hallways and, like, ducking at the right moment and just very almost anticlimactically just, like, walking along, like, affecting that air of, like, this is nothing.
Okay, so then she's gonna roll a skullduggery check. Well, skullduggery or mechanics, depending on what you want to do with this repeater.
We are trying to... Skullduggery is probably better. I think it's better if it's just shut down. Right? Like, if we just, in the time that we need it, if there's just not communications...
Okay, so you want it to be able to be remotely shut down?
Yes.
Okay. 2 ways to do that. If you want to install some sort of like kill circuit, you could roll a skullduggery. If you just want to plant a bomb, there's no roll. You could just plant a bomb.
Let's do the skullduggery. I think she, like, considers planting a bomb, and she's like, no. Oh, it sounds really fun, but I shouldn't.
I might need this bomb later.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump. Something's blowing up, but it's not this.
Okay, so then her skullduggery is a yellow and 3 green. This will be against 2 purple and a black.
2 purple and a black. Oh, finally. 2 failures and 3 advantages.
Ooh, okay. So this repeater is not susceptible to her slave circuit adjustment, however.
So my advantages are that the slave circuit didn't work. My approach didn't work. But I can see where I can plug in a bomb. Because if I can't disable the thing, I'm just going to use the bomb.
Okay, sure. So you can use those advantages to hide the bomb super well. No one's ever going to find it. Guess you're going to blow it up after all.
You know, sometimes we resist our instincts, and sometimes it turns out that we should just do what we think anyway.
Speaking of which, we cut back to Bam Trindo with 2 Imperial Stormtroopers riding a turbo lift, not down, but up. Up to the very top of this building. And as it's coming to a stop, they lean over and say, yeah, we should have mentioned maybe that really the only one who can do a level 1 request is, either Barraker or his second in command.
Okay, that certainly changes things, but you know what? We're here. We're committed. We're gonna do great. You're gonna do great, buddy.
So we're gonna hit his second in command. It's gonna be risky.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm pretty sure if second in command is Andor, right? That's the guy who should be running things.
It's more like Barraker's specific lieutenant, his assistant / confidant.
Okay. Either way, yeah, that should be a doable thing. You know, we are the security. We're the enforcers. We're the people on the
door
ground.
opens.
Go.
You see a very pristine Imperial office and a very tired-looking gentleman wearing a gray uniform with a bunch of red and blue squares on it. Yes, how can I help you? The stormtroopers push you forward.
He gets pushed forward. He's got the binders on, and he's like, "Hi, Bam Trendo, Imperial defector. We need a security request, and unfortunately, I don't think we can take no for an answer." And he kind of like shrugs a little bit and looks back at the stormtroopers, hoping that they've taken like battle stances.
So this officer stops what he was doing. He wasn't even looking up. He was working on something on his computer. Turns to look at you. Is very confused. There's a captured boffin making demands. But then the stormtroopers, you would expect them to point their blasters, but they don't. They're just sort of taking a neutral stance.
Great. Good. Excellent.
I'm a little confused. You need a security clearance. You're a defector.
Yes,
right?
yes.
You were the ones that I was supposed to be scheduled to speak with in a couple of hours.
Why
are you here now?
Excellent. It's a pleasure to meet you. Well, you see, there's it's a funny story. It's, and I think at that moment, Levon from the back picks up his gun, points it forward, and says, "Hey, boss, you want to drop down now?" Yes, that would be ideal.
I see. It's a coup, then.
Yes, it is one of those situations.
So Andor got a rebel spy to do his dirty work for him, did he? After all these years, I should have known.
No. Well, yes, I suppose you should have, but we all make mistakes. It's a tough business.
You are aware, of course, that there are security cameras in this room.
Security cameras, you say? Excellent.
I know you are under the impression that you have the entire security force helping, but after all, it wouldn't be Imperial intelligence if we didn't have a few of our own members within the ranks, would it?
You know, I really like the way that you operate. I gotta say.
Why do you think that these two gentlemen here haven't pointed their blasters yet? It's because they know if this doesn't go their way, they can point to the tape and say that they didn't do anything treasonous.
That makes a whole lot of sense. And I think that's a really great point. And as a counterpoint, Levon, take the shot.
Okay, is he shooting to kill him or just hurt him?
He is shooting to take out one of the two stormtroopers.
Oh, nice.
This would be ranged heavy.
Yeah, it's just against one purple. I'll give you a blue for getting the jump on him.
2 yellow, green, blue. 2 successes, 3 advantages.
That's a blaster rifle, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that first one dies. Just boom, dies.
And I think he turns the rifle on the other one and says, "Grab him. Grab him. Grab him. This is a revolt. You are a hostage. You, an unwilling hostage in my..." Actually, Bam is the one that starts saying, yes, this is a hostage situation. You, Stormtrooper, are now an unwilling hostage in my rebel games. And then kind of leans forward.
Yeah, picks him up, and he looks at you. You're crazy, aren't you? You didn't have to actually kill him.
Crazy like a boffin.
Oh, what have I done? We've gotten into bed with the rebels, now we're all gonna die.
Grab him and let's
yes,
go.
You could shoot the rebel now, and then we'd all be saved the hassle. No way, the only way out of here is through the end. Either I die, or we change everything about this place.
Grab him, let's get in the turbo lift.
Alright, you drag him into the turbo lift. I'm not sure what it is you're hoping to accomplish here.
Just looking to know everything there is to know about this place, my good man. Leverage, that's the name of the game. Leverage.
It won't work.
It's worked once before.
So, the turbo lift is shooting downward now, presumably because Bam would want to immediately go to where the level 1 information is held. Yes? Okay. The stormtrooper now knows where that is, so he puts in the command to take you toward basically the bottom. And you have a few moments here as you're thrumming down. Why are you doing this? Why do you do this job of spying for the Alliance?
Because I'm good at it, and because once in a while, and he eyes the control panels, and he's I don't know if they're labeled at all, but I'm gonna
sure they are.
He spots the detention level and he hits a button because once in a while, despite my better interests, as the doors to the detention level open, I can help someone who needs it. Keep my unwilling hostage, and he looks around for any cameras. Take him to the information request. I've got work to do. This is crazy.
So, Levon and the Stormtrooper and the second in command are now heading toward the lower level, yes? Okay, and Bam by himself is now the detention level.
Yes.
So the first thing you would notice is that it's not the usual detention level structure. It's not that hexagonal corridor with all the cells. There are very few doors with lots of spaces between them, as if the rooms are very large. And there is a security pit in the front, about 4 stormtroopers and another white-tunicked Imperial intelligence officer. He eyes you curiously. Is there a reason you're here?
And I assume I've taken the binders off at this point, because I don't assume they were...
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm going to lie through my teeth and say, yes, there is. Actually, I am Bam Trindo, Imperial Defector. I am here to... I was sent down here to interrogate one Dr. Telluric. You see, we used to work together, and seeing me in the Empire, they think Barara thinks will be the sort of psychological weapon that the Empire needs to really crack Telluric. Get into his head.
Okay, go ahead and roll. I assume deception?
Yes.
Okay. Whoops. Okay, so it's going to be deception against 2 red and a purple.
All right.
I'll give you a blue for trying to use the past relationship.
All right. Wash with an advantage.
Where's your work order number?
Paperwork was never my strong suit. And I pull out my blaster pistol. And I shoot the security pit in the hopes that it will fry the doors and open them.
Okay. gosh. I mean, you've only got one light side point left, but if you want to use it...
No, I do.
All right.
I don't think that this is going to end well for us. There's a lot of context clues that point me in the direction of this not going well.
You pull out your blaster, and through a luck of the Force, you have triggered the door opening commands, because this is Star Wars, and when you shoot a door, they open, apparently. Gosh. Okay. How do I want to set this up so it's fair? I'm going to roll a d6. It's going to tell us how many rooms there are.
Okay.
There are 3. Odd or even?
Even.
Okay, it was odd. So, tell me what's in one of... Oh, I guess, wait, if there's only 3 rooms. Okay, so Talaric is obviously in one of them. There are 2 more. Tell me what's in one of the other ones. It's some sort of experimental scientist being held against his will, but he has a lab to continue his work, or her work.
It is a Chiss? No, a Duros. It is a Duros scientist building some sort of, like, just jacking up battle droids, basically. Making, like, super armored battle droids. And sort of doing it reluctantly like this. The rebellion said they had my back, and they didn't.
I'm going to roll off of a table. I'm going to roll off my Womp Rats table, which is a hack of the game Maze Rats that I made for Star Wars. I always have it nowadays for randomization moments like this. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so the other is another Drawl scientist. So Talaric is a Drawl, which is basically a space hamster.
Sure.
They're a Silhouette Zero character. They're very adorable. The other one is also a Drawl, and this one's experiments are not quite as humane.
Sure.
They focus mostly on altering Wookiees.
Oh no, that's not great.
No, it's not. And in fact, apparently, I'm going to flip a dark side point for this. Shooting the panel to disable the doors has also disabled the containment field inside that he was using to hold this mutated Wookiee. And it comes charging out the door. It's much larger than a normal Wookiee. It's probably about 10 feet tall. And probably about 6 feet wide. It looks more like a Wampa than a Wookiee at this point.
Sure.
And it's just in this fit of blood rage.
Great.
What do you do?
I am going to shout, Talaric, let's go now. And sort of move towards the turbo lift.
A very confused Talaric looks out and sees you. Stares for a moment, can't believe his luck, and then looks back at his research station, looks over to you, looks back at his research station. Do I have time to get a few files?
You absolutely, positively do not. There's a giant Wookiee. We need to go.
Very sadly starts running over toward you.
And we are going to run towards the nearest turbo lift.
Alright, so you mash on the turbo lift button. Do you watch what's going on?
I'm going to flip this light side point back and say, no, but I'm just going to trust it's going well.
You hear a lot of blaster fire, a lot of screaming. And then the door to the other turbo lift opens and you two jump into it, and I assume you just mash the nearest button. Meanwhile, calls are going throughout this facility. The security tapes have, of course, gotten to the eyes of some of Barriker's men. And so the communications are mostly about trying to figure out what's going on. Is this a coup by Andor? Is this a rebel maneuver? Why was there a power failure on the detention level? What's going on? Communications are just going haywire right now. Does Maris push her button yet?
Oh, for sure. That's the cue.
Boom. It explodes. Communications to the upper decks are completely shut off now. And thanks to Kaber's maneuvering, no one's able to deactivate the environmental controls on the lower levels or anywhere at all.
Good. So, so that's mostly a success.
And I'm going to flip 2 dark side points for things that are happening.
Good.
The turbolift comes to an end. The end point, one of the lowest levels possible. You open it and you find Levon, the stormtrooper, and your captured second in command.
Great. Good news, everyone. How are things going down here?
Well, he said some sort of command word, and now the whole level's locked off.
I really, really like the way that you operate, I have to say.
If you had been born human, perhaps we would have been working together.
And I'm going to shoot him in the kneecap.
Oh, Chris!
Say the
Caravans!
Say the reverse word.
I'd rather die.
You have a second kneecap.
Very well, take it.
I shoot him in the second kneecap.
God! Ugh. You don't know what you're trying to get. My life is worth nothing.
I shoot him in the first kneecap again.
He has fallen over now. Now the pain is so bad he can't even talk. He's just incoherently screaming.
I'm gonna hop on the comms. I'm gonna hop on a comm, our personal channel, our private channel.
Mm-hmm.
Kaber, we got a job for you.
No answer.
Great. Okay, comms are down. We need to figure out a way to break in. We've got guns. There's no one down here. We may as well try it.
Roll something to search. Perception, vigilance, something like that.
2 yellow and a green.
2 purple should be fine.
Failure and 3 advantages.
So you look around.
Should also roll for Levon. Nah, his is so bad it's not going to be worth it.
Go ahead. Go for it. No, you do it. Right. Why not?
I'll flip one of these light sides. Failure and 2 advantages.
You're looking for some sort of override lever or something like that. Basically, the situation is that you can see through this glass pane. Well, it's transparent steel. Where the security thing is. There is still a white uniformed intelligence officer and a couple of stormtroopers in this security checkpoint. They're actually stuck in there while this lockdown is going on. They look more bored than anything because they know you can't get in. With your advantages, you also notice that there is a very small set of ventilation shafts that would maybe get you in, but they are outside the environmental fields. So you would be completely exposed to heat and sulfur, and also the only one small enough to probably pull it off is Talaric.
Talaric? I'm going to ask you to do something right now.
All right.
And I'm not happy about it. I need you to know that before I ask it. And I need you to know that I'm sorry. And he takes a big gulp. He gulps and he closes his eyes. If you want out, and he points to the turbo lift, this is your chance. Nirna is upstairs. She's on an upper level. The two of you can get out safely, and we can figure out another option. Or you can get us the plans to the second Death Star and probably die, but we can stop whatever it is that they're doing.
A second Death Star? You've got to be kidding me.
I wish I was kidding, but it's why we're here. You were a cover story. You were a cover story to everyone else. You were not a cover story to me, but you were a cover story to the rebellion. they're building a second Death Star. It's bigger, it's faster, it's better. We need those plans, and you're the only one that can get through that ventilation shaft. And you're the only one that's going to be able to get those plans. And I don't think any of us are making it out of here, but at least you can help us get those plans to Nirna, and maybe we can't, but maybe someone can stop this.
Okay, roll something.
This is probably leadership. And I'm going to flip that last light side. What would you put this against?
We'll flip one. It's going to be 3 purple and a red.
Okay. Failure and an advantage.
No. I'm not going to die. I'd rather work for the Empire than die.
Okay. That's fine. I asked, you said no, and Bam starts trying to squeeze and shuffle into these air vents that are too small.
Whew, okay. Okay, I guess it's not impossible.
Okay, let me see. Let's see, I can't convince him to do it. I'm not going to fit into the air vents.
You could talk to the people inside the control center.
That sounds like a good plan. I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to deceive. I'm going to charm. I'm going to flip this light side. What would be the difficulty? As I just say, just please, you know that we're going to die. Just let me have this.
They look around in confusion. What do you mean? What do you mean we're going to die?
No, you're going to live. I'm going to die.
So you just want to die knowing the location of the Death Star? That's what you want?
It's better than nothing.
Ooh, this is good. 3 purple.
3 successes and an advantage.
Leave your gun on the ground.
I toss it. It's worthless.
He opens the door. Go ahead. And there's a server room. Again, just a simple terminal, although the data banks here are pretty enormous. There must be so many secrets down here.
Only one that matters. Only one that's coming out of here with me. And I download the files.
There's actually no download, actually.
Oh.
What's interesting is, remember, they have the plans. They just don't know where it is.
Oh.
So all you're doing is pressing... When you look for this information, all you find is there's one command, print. Which is odd in Star Wars. You don't print very often in Star Wars, but you can. I think the fancy term, Star Wars term for it is a flimsy.
I print that flimsy.
It just has one word on it. Just says Endor.
That's easier than I would have expected. Simpler than I would have thought. All right.
And at that same time, you hear nearby a little clatter, clatter, clatter by one of these air vents. The siding comes off of it, and you see a strange red astromech droid roll in.
Okay. We all heard the stories of Leia doing this once, but you never think you're going to be in this position.
And then the droid projects a little holographic projection of some official orders, also from Nock. Their mission is to meet up with you, take whatever information you have, and then they're going to exfiltrate a different direction, just so that there's 2 points of exit.
I hand the droid the information. I give a salute.
And
I put a hand on it.
He says, Endor? That's it? Just Endor?
Endor. You'd think it would be more complicated. But listen, get out of here. And when you get out of here, tell them Tell them that many Bothans died to get them this information.
Oh. What? How about not dying? Did you try that?
We'll give it our best.
And the droid rolls off into the air vents.
And Bam looks around at the stormtroopers and the security officer and says, "So, is this the part where we all shoot each other to death?"
Roll your initiative for leave on, please.
Okay.
It can be either cool or vigilance, depending on whichever one is better for him.
Vigilance is better. Success and 3 advantages.
The stormtrooper is going to... Well, roll BAMs too, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Also 2. Success and 2 advantages.
Alright, the stormtrooper is going to go first. With your advantages, I will let you pick who he wants to shoot first.
Oh, got it. He's going to shoot Bam.
So 2 yellow and a green against 1 purple. Pew! Ooh, that's not good.
There it is.
2 successes, a threat, and a triumph. So that would be 11 damage minus your soak.
My soak is 4, so that is 7 damage.
I guess I'll just crit. Oh,
That's a 99.
I have never rolled that high on a crit roll before. Oh man, is this... This could literally not get any more Star Wars. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
99. Crippled. One of the target's limbs is crippled until healed or replaced.
Yep, I lost my hand.
Yeah, he just blasts your gun hand. The shot connects at the elbow, and you lose your entire forearm.
Yep, that's Star Wars. That's the Star Wars thing. That's the thing that happens in the Star Wars. Levon is going to open fire on the stormtrooper.
So it's just 1... It's normally 1 purple. I'm going to flip a dark side to make it 1 red.
Okay.
And then you can have a blue if you want to aim.
Yes, I do. A red and a blue. 3 successes, 2 advantages.
So it's 12 minus 5, which is 7. So he's about halfway dead. Your advantages?
It knocks him down, so everyone has a moment to scramble.
Okay, sure.
To scramble to the turbo lift.
Or
at least Talaric and Levon have time to get to the turbo lift, since I have 2 advantages.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. I'll let Bam try if he can roll a successful resilience check.
Sounds good.
And normally that would be, I would say 3 purple. I'm going to flip another dark side point to make it 2 purple and a red.
And I'm going to flip one of my light side to make my 1 green a yellow. Failure and a threat.
Okay, so he's watching Levon and Talaric run for the turbo lift, but he's kind of frozen in place.
He throws with his non-blown off hand. He salutes Levon and he says, "Get him out of here."
It is Bam's turn. I will say that was your maneuver, but if you still want to take an action, you can try.
Yeah. I will try for an athletics to see if I get there.
Okay. I'm going to flip another dark side. It's going to be a red, a purple, and a black.
And I'm going to flip that 1 yellow, flip that to a yellow. Triumph, failure, and 2 threats.
Oh boy. He's not going to get there. You're going to take 2 strain, but...
He doesn't get there. But... I want to use that triumph to basically... Because, he's already gone. In my mind, Bam is done. So I'm thinking that he basically, oh, okay, I know what it is. He tries to move, but his body is like too beaten down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just like, so he sits in a chair and he hits an alarm. He like hits a button and it's an alarm that says that the high priority threat is down on the floor where he is. So the security forces are all coming to where he is, so everybody else on the turbo lift can go back up where they need to.
Okay. Okay, so you've scrambled everybody into even further chaos than what's already going on.
Yes, now they know the disaster situation is where he is, so Talaric and Levon and Nirna can get together and get off planet safely.
As Bam is sitting there, the alarm going off in the background, the stormtrooper is picking himself up, picking up his blaster rifle. It's only a matter of time now. What are his thoughts?
Why do you do this job? You could say you're good at it, but the last month has shown you're not especially good at it. You could say that you help people, but you haven't... You'll say you like to get your hands dirty, but this is where it gets you. This is where it always gets you. This is where the game gets you. It's because somebody has to do it. Not everybody gets to ride in on a speeder and shoot down the Death Star and dance with the celebrating army. Some people just die alone in a sub-basement somewhere with the knowledge that something they did, hopefully, help someone else, save someone else. And he thinks to Talaric and Levon, and he thinks to Talaric, who is going to get to safety and is going to be okay. And he smiles for a minute and says, something you did is going to help someone be safe. And he thinks about that astromech droid, and he says, something you did is going to save a lot of people. Why do I do this job? Because I'm fucking great at this job. And he sits back and he closes his eyes and he puts his one hand behind his head and he just starts twirling in this chair. And he says, mission accomplished.
The end.
Dang. Chris, thank you so much for this. This was a treasure.
Thank you. I knew you could do it. I knew it was risky. It was risky as all hell, but I was
no, it was perfect.
I think we can do it.
Perfect. I gotta calm down for a minute. Chris, thank you so much for coming on Party of One. This was amazing. So, real quick, before I wrap up, where can people find your work online?
Sure. Mostly just head over to sil0podcast.com. This episode, although Jeff didn't know it, is going to tie into one of the Silhouette Zero episodes in the future. So, now you can get that crossover sweet satisfaction that you've been looking for. It's better than a CW superhero show, I'm telling you.
Dang. Well, it also crossed over with one of the other Star Wars episodes that we did for Party of One, because that Duro scientist was the scientist from the episode we did with Maddie, who was the guy that was building robots. So there's still crossover. It's all one universe. It's the Star Wars universe. We've
got one and the crosses over with episode 6. So you see the crossovers just don't end here. You can also chat with me on Twitter. It's at Sil0Chris. That's SILZERO. You can watch my nonsense over there.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me.
Thanks, Bass Me. And thanks again to Chris for coming onto the show. That game was everything I wanted out of it and more. Be sure to check out Silhouette Zero at SillZeroPodcast.com. Check out Heroes of the Hydian Way at TheHydianWay.com. And follow Chris on Twitter at SillZeroChris. And now, as promised at the top of the episode, I have some thoughts about the ending of that episode and the structure of the game and the story that we told that I want to talk about. But first, I wanted to say that with The Last Jedi coming out, I wanted to do a really big, dramatic Star Wars episode, so I asked Chris to come in and deliver the grand finale of the Bam Trindo saga, and boy did he deliver in a really big, really satisfying way. And Chris, thank you so much for running this game and running all of these games and reaching out to me first to offer to run Star Wars for the show. I have loved these stories that we have told together so much, and I cannot wait to play more games with you in the future to see what kind of stories we tell going forward. That said, there was a detail that I wanted to poke at a little bit, not necessarily apologize for, not necessarily excuse, just acknowledge and explore a little bit. Bam Trindo, Bothan investigator, is gay. He is a gay man. Which is important to me. I am a queer creator telling queer stories about queer characters. I wanted that to be front and center, right? So I'm really happy with how that played out in this episode. Also, well, never tell me the odds, but the odds of Bam making it off of Sullust alive are slim. Which is really cool. I love that kind of heroic sacrifice. I think it's very Star Wars. It's also very appropriate to the spy genre, which is the kind of story that we were telling, that the hero acted with his heart and it cost him in the end, but it saved a lot more people along the way. That's very spy movie, and I love that. But I also acknowledge that there is a heteronormative trope involving queer characters where a queer character is introduced, they are introduced as queer, and then they die. And I've been conflicted about that because through no fault of either of ours, we kind of stumbled into doing exactly that a little bit. And I've been conflicted about it because, on the one hand, as a queer creator, I want to tell stories that are honest, and that's not always going to involve a happy ending. But on the other hand, I'm not telling stories in a vacuum, and that means that I have to acknowledge that there are these problematic tropes that exist. But on the other hand, that is sort of the nature of improvised collaborative storytelling, that we are both bringing different impulses to the table, and that story is going to shape in different directions. And so I've been thinking a lot about this. I considered asking Chris to re-record so that we didn't meet Bam's ex right before he gets killed. I considered maybe writing a little epilogue where maybe it turns out Bam survived after all. I even considered just re-recording the entire episode now that I knew what Chris wanted to do. But all of those options felt a little bit dishonest, so where I landed was just kind of talking about it after and saying, if you felt a little weird about that aspect of it, I don't necessarily apologize, but maybe I do a little bit. You know, if you feel a little conflicted like I do, I get it, is I guess what I'll say. And I'm always down to have more of this conversation over Twitter, or email, or Discord, or whatever. It's something that I think about a lot. And so if you have questions or comments, let me know. It's something I think about a lot. So yeah, thanks for listening to this. Speaking of Facebook and Twitter and Discord and such, you should follow this show at Party of One Pod on Twitter, then like the show at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast, then go to bit.ly/partyofonediscord and go join the Party of One Discord community. You can also find a link to that pinned to my Twitter. If you really enjoyed the show, consider leaving us a nice iTunes review, social media shout-out, or word-of-mouth recommendation. All of those things help new listeners find the show, which helps us do bigger, better, and cooler things. You can also consider backing our Patreon at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. Though, with Patreon's recent fee decisions, where they instituted a fee on patrons and then rolled it back, we're thinking about funding things, and so stay tuned on that. But either way, for now, patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. If you'd like to hear more from me, consider checking out All My Fantasy Children, the podcast in which Aaron Catano Saez and I build a fantasy world and tell the story of its characters through your listener prompts. You can find that at allmyfantasychildren.com. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates coming onto the show, or you just want to chat with me about Midnight Diner Tokyo stories, because that show is the best! You can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.
Never gonna die.